How's it going? This is Luke Stokes. It is February 15th, just shy of 11 a.m. We're about 3 hours away from an AMA that Justin's son announced yesterday. And that will be with Ned and Justin's son. And it will be regarding, of course, the big news. So Tron has apparently purchased Steemit Incorporated, and they've announced their intention to essentially consume the Steem community and the Steem token. I posted here about this yesterday just as it was happening, linked out to the major news articles that were talking about it, and tried to once again explain that Steemit Incorporated and Steem the blockchain and Steem the token are two separate things. The Steem blockchain is run by the block producers. It is a decentralized blockchain. Steemit Incorporated, steemit.com. And again, just to be clear, steemit.com is just one of many. You can go to busy.org, you can go to SteamPeak. There are many different interfaces for the Steem blockchain. So steemit.com is just one of those. There are many different ways that you can view the Steem blockchain. So that is the first point I want to make sure everybody understands. If two centralized companies, Steemit Incorporated and the Tron Foundation, come to an agreement about something, it doesn't necessarily have significant relevance on what the block producers do. Now, that said, Justin's son is a very smart individual with a lot of power at his disposal, lots of resources. The traditional game theory dynamics about whether or not he would protect his investment in terms of the Steem he purchased, I think don't really apply. You know, they have what's called FU money. You know, they're able to do essentially whatever they want. And that's, you know, it's understandable. One of the ideas I had just this morning is just thinking about the relevance to conversations back. You know, I joined blockchain space in January 2013. And the conversations in Bitcoin talk about how are the different ways that, you know, we're like, oh my gosh, this technology is amazing. It's going to change the world. How's it going to be attacked? And we start going through the game theory dynamics of how it might get attacked. And essentially that's what we're going to find out. We're going to find out, I believe, through this process, whether Steem is a blockchain. And not only that, I think it may shed some light on the entire DPoS and potentially PoS consensus algorithms. And by DPoS, I mean delegated proof of stake. And by PoS, I mean proof of stake. A lot of blockchains are proof of work. Essentially, the amount of money you have to spend on electricity and mining equipment determines how much of the governance and consensus you get to participate in. In delegated proof of stake, you take your tokens, your stake, and you get to vote for which block producers are, you know, currently running the chain, you know, defining consensus. So block producers could come and make changes to the code, and if you get 15 of 21 to agree, you're going to push forward that code, and it's going to happen. So these are the current top witnesses. 15 of these 20 will essentially determine what happens with Steem. Now, the interesting thing about that is if you have enough stake, you can see the amount of, you know, millions of tokens going and voting for these people. If you have enough stake, you could just vote in your own block producers here, and they can make a protocol change, a hard fork. They could, you know, do all kinds of things. So it's going to be really important in the next days, weeks, I mean, even hours. You know, like I said, the AMA is in 3 hours. It's going to be very important for the Steem community to understand these things, to be able to pick block producers they trust to protect their investment, protect their commitment to the Steem blockchain and content there. And at the same time, you know, I think it's going to be important for people to realize, you know, Steem has been through some rough times. And although this in many ways is an existential threat and should, in my opinion, be seen as such, I also think there's the potential for something good to come out of this. And I'm not just talking about, you know, short-term price spikes or anything like that. I am talking about the leadership in the Steem community has not been as effective. And when I say that, I mean in terms of Steem Incorporated. And that's been an often discussed topic. I'm not going to go into that in more detail. And it's possible that kind of new excitement by someone like Justin would be valuable. Now, I also recognize that Justin, I don't know him personally, but he doesn't have, you know, in some cases doesn't have the best reputation about the different marketing things he does. Now, that said, I'm quite impressed that he did actually have a lunch with Warren Buffett. That wasn't just BS, right? I do think that He's a very interesting, influential person. He's a very powerful person. And when it comes to power, I think it's important that we recognize there are two definitions of power: the ability to influence others and the ability not to be influenced. And I think what Steem needs right now is a lot of powerful people, powerful witnesses, powerful community members in the second category, who are not going to be influenced just by others, but they're going to do what they feel is right and what's best for the community. So anyway, I just want to put out a little video, highlight this post here if you haven't seen it yet. Go ahead and give it a read. There's quite a few comments on it already. Got 1,000 votes here, I think. I think it's still in the top trending now. And it's kind of just became where people are having the discussion, along with Justin. He posted as well just last night. And so there's you can see 300 comments there. There's a lot of conversation going on about this, and I encourage you to join it. Encourage you to listen in to the AMA. This could be potentially significant for DPoS chains in general. Are they really blockchains? And this is where we're going to find out. What happens when there's a hostile takeover? Could this be another Ethereum Classic and Bitcoin Cash moment where the community gets divided and they can't decide on what direction they want to go? This is what we're hopefully going to find out. So I hope you participate. I hope you join us. The AMA is coming. And more importantly, in my opinion, than the AMA, after the AMA is going to be a discussion on Discord among the witnesses. So right here, Agrode and others will be hosting this, if you go to minnowpawn.org, this kind of discussion. And we've had many of these as witnesses and community discussing about what we think this Steem ecosystem and blockchain should be. So I encourage you, if you got some time this Saturday, come listen in. It's going to be not only important for the Steem community, but potentially important for the blockchain space, for how different consensus algorithms are seen, how DPoS works. Are there concepts of hostile takeovers, just like in the corporate world? Can that happen in the blockchain world? I think we're about to find out, and it's going to be really interesting. So anyway, thanks for listening. Hope you have a great Saturday, and hope to see you participate. Have a good one.